morning. We've got 3 days left, 3.5 days I guess. We're leaving on Saturday, today is Wednesday. So we're just going down to try and find some food and see what we find this time. See if I can steer Nicole away from McDonald's. That's gonna be a hard one. She's drawn to it. So we're just here about to take the elevator down. What are you thinking for breakfast?
I want an apple pie with that. I want an apple pie with that.
Thank you. Oh, it happened again. I let Nicole convince me on McDonald's breakfast again, 3 days in a row. It's killing me. I can't believe it. We're in Tokyo of all places and we're going to McDonald's, but I don't know. It's fast, it's convenient. It's like I said, it's right downstairs from our room, our hotel. So we just go down, get breakfast done. We're ready to start the day. I get my coffee, which is really the main draw for me. And secondary is those apple pies, those deep fried apple pies. So they're really good. But today I'm still hungry, so I got an onigiri. I keep talking about doing that, but I actually got one. So we are heading out. I will show you this onigiri along the way. All right, just made a really quick trip into Family Mart. And this is the onigiri I ended up with. All right, so onigiri, if you don't know, is basically like a rice ball with something inside, some kind of filling wrapped in seaweed. So how do they keep the seaweed nice and crunchy and not soggy when it's touching the rice ball? You okay back there? Nicole's shoulders are dying. Okay, so they have a really ingenious packaging on these onigiris, and let me show you here. They're labeled 1, 2, 3. So what we do is we pull on one. Like so. So now we've taken out this piece and we're left with this. Where is it? And all you do is you pull this out. I don't know if you can see the seaweed here is separated from the rice from this little piece of plastic attached to this piece. So if we look in here, you can see it. Oh, I ripped my seaweed, but there's the protective. So just grab the rice ball and pull that out of this side. And there you have it. Then you can wrap your seaweed around your onigiri and it's still crispy. Don't touch my onigiri. So these are a really good, quick, easy meal. This was maybe 120 yen to grab for on the go. You can see this one is tuna and mayo. So it's cooked tuna with mayo. It's a really good combo. I'll polish this off before we make it to the train station. We're having a rough start to getting going today. It's quite late this morning and we're heading out. I had my onigiri and maybe it was because I was enjoying my onigiri so much that we went to almost got to the wrong train station. There, at this area near the hotel, there's a subway stop, like basically right in the basement of the hotel almost. And then there's Shimbashi, which is a good 5, maybe 10-minute walk from the hotel in the underground, and we were about halfway to Shimbashi, and I was like, wait a minute, it's the one day we're actually going to get to use the closer station, but we forgot, and so we didn't get the benefit of the closer station. So we basically have walking to Shimbashi now, with the walking halfway and walking back. But anyways, now we are heading back to the station close to our hotel, Shiodome Station. Because we are taking the Edo, well, that doesn't sound right. We are taking the Oedo line. There you go. To our
Goiza line?
No, I said something like I really mispronounced Oedo. So we're taking the Oedo line to our first attraction, and hopefully it's not too long of a trip because we'd like to get there before noon. This is a very nice clean station because it's very new.
I don't use it.
Well, it's very new. And they have a well-placed map. Sometimes I'm hunting for one of these maps in these stations and I can't find it. And I think we want track 1. Because we are going to Ryogoku E12. Exhibit for the day. We came to the Edo-Tokyo Museum, which is something we've done in the past. Last time we were here, I got super sick in the museum for some reason. Actually, I was really sick that whole night, starting at the museum here. Right after, I just gunned it home and was in bed like really crazy sick for until like 11, and then I was good. But so I'm coming here for the first time in many ways. Nicole has seen it before, but she wanted to come back because I have a really cool exhibit here detailing Tokyo in the Edo period, right up to, I think, Meiji Restoration. And apparently there's a few things here related to the Showa period, which is the one after the Meiji Restoration. They have a really good exhibit here because they've replicated a few things like Nihonbashi, which is the bridge that used to lead into Edo period Tokyo, back before it was actually the capital of Japan. It didn't become the capital of Japan until the Meiji Restoration, so that's pretty recent in history. So let's go in there, check out the exhibits. I'm looking forward to seeing this mostly for the first time. It's in this really crazy building. I'm not sure if this building was built just for the museum. The museum was established in '93. So I'm kind of curious if this building was used for something else before. But it's this massive building here, sort of like on stilts. And that red thing over there is the escalator leading up. So we're going to go up there, walk over Nihonbashi, and check out the exhibit. There's no shortage of escalators in this museum. We've gone up about 4 escalators and we haven't even gotten to the top. I think the 4th one's taking us up. We're at the top.
This bridge is amazing.
Yeah, this is Nihonbashi Bridge. This is the reconstruction of the bridge. It was originally built in 1603, and it leaded the way into Tokyo. And a lot of Tokyo was developed around the bridge. The bridge was a real focal point. This part that you saw me walk over, which is the only reconstruction here, is only a part of what the bridge was back in the day. This is the northern section of the bridge. And it leads into the museum, which is kind of apropos for what it was meant for back in the day. This museum so far has been really good. We've only just crossed the bridge and looked at the first diorama. And Nicole, I can totally see why she wanted to come back. Really interesting. So the first diorama we hit shows what Tokyo would have looked like back in the early Edo period, and it just shows a section of the bridge leading into Tokyo and how it was sort of laid out with the buildings and whatnot. And they did a really good job with the model, all the people walking on the bridge and in the town and whatnot. Yeah, it's really neat. This next model is of a private residence, which is really unbelievable. It was the residence of a daimyo, hope I'm pronounced that right. I think I mispronounce that every time. And he lived from 1597 to 1645. So he saw the start of the Edo period. It's massive. And the gates leading in are really intricate, really cool. Lots of cool gardens. And the model is really interesting because half of it is not built, but they show you the layout on the board, like on the ground, of where the other buildings would be, and it gives you a good view into some of the larger buildings. Yeah, really nice looking gardens. And this was the last such residence that they built in this fashion because this was completely burnt down by a fire. And I guess that, you know, this was really expensive and a lot of work to build, so they stopped building them so grand after that fire.
I found my new mode of transportation.
Who's gonna carry you?
Not you?
I don't think so.
Oh.
This model here shows the palaces. I guess that's where the shogunate lived among all the people next to the castle or the tower. And it's really interesting, I find, because it has an inner moat. So there's like the whole compound sort of protected by a moat, and then once you get in past that, there's another moat you'd have to get through. So it's pretty interesting how it's all laid out and how various areas are for specific purposes and specific people to live. And yeah, it's kind of detailed. The English isn't great on this model, so it's hard to sort of explain and show. But I just really like the inner moat. And hopefully tomorrow we'll go to the Imperial Palace, which is on this site where this is, and parts of this area is where the current Imperial Palace is situated. And this model shows what it was like at the very end of the Edo period, how it was all laid out and whatnot. Large swaths of Tokyo at the time called Edo were destroyed in a huge fire in 1657. Yeah, that was the fire that burnt down that Daimyo house I was showing earlier. It was just, a lot of it was completely wiped out. And in the reconstruction, they put a lot of effort into trying to design the city to be a little bit more resilient to fires. So they moved a lot of the shrines and the Daimyo mansions out to the outskirts of town. They widened streets to create fire breaks. Vacant lots were designated as fire breaks, and so they really put a lot of effort into reconstructing the city to try and prevent a disaster like that from happening again.
You got an audience again.
I got an audience. One of the things I find really fascinating here is they have a life-sized wooden sculpture of the first Tokugawa shogunate, the man who did all that work to unify Japan and start the reign of the Tokugawa family for like almost 300 years. I went like this because Nicole pointed out the proportions are all really odd, but it says that it's life-size, and beside it they also have a diagram showing the family and all of the Tokugawa shogunate heads from the first to this last, the 16th. And that's kind of neat to see all on one board, and see just to see them, really, just to put a face to all of that. It's really kind of cool. All right, we've made it down to the second floor. You start off on a higher floor, and that was my favorite floor so far. That's where all the dioramas and models and information about Edo itself is located. Then you get downstairs, and the first exhibit we just went through was showing sort of the daily life of the people who lived in Edo back in the day. And they have a lot of good exhibits about their diet and education. There was one comparing salary and expenses from back then to today. So yeah, really interesting stuff. And what did you think so far?
I think I like the second floor more because I like the life-size exhibits, and they were on the first floor there was the big bridge, but on the second floor there were more smaller life-size exhibits that you can stick your head in and look and read about. My favorite one was the one where the mom was giving birth, and apparently after you give birth, their idea was that you had to sit in the same position straight for 7 days after you give birth, and instead of improving your health, that actually ruined your health.
Yeah, I could see that not being good.
Oh. Fresh sushi, anyone?
float behind me is a replica of a float that would have been used in the Cannes festival that runs here in Tokyo. Japan is full of festivals. They have festivals all the time called Matsuri, and I really always wanted to see one. Actually, I think we did see one in Kyoto back before I understood what was going on, but it was a pretty amazing spectacle. I'll put up a few pictures if I can find them from that trip. But yeah, it would be really cool to go and actually see one of these festivals and these floats being dragged along through the street. This one here has what they call a doll at the top, which is kind of like a statue. And there's some replica of a bunch of floats and people dragging them over here as well in this area. This is a pretty cool spot of the museum, and this float behind me is really imposing. You can see, you really see it as you come around the corner from the other exhibit to this one. It's really quite cool. Behind me here is a replication of a typical Edo style kabuki theater, and this is a place where common people and nobility would come to watch a play and sort of let the stresses of everyday life sort of meld away for a couple hours, much in the same way as we would go see a Hollywood blockbuster to just sort of forget our everyday woes. But the museum here has been really, really good. I'm just about to enter in the last section of the museum, which talks about the transition from Edo to Tokyo. It was renamed Tokyo when the Meiji Emperor was moved back here and it became the capital. He was moved from Kyoto. So yeah, really come and check this out if you have time in Tokyo and you want to learn about the Edo period. It's a really good museum. They have really good exhibits, really good quality and detail. And the English is pretty good as well. They have quite a lot of English. I mean, some of the exhibits have minimal English and then a lot of Japanese, so you're kind of like missing some of the details. But there's enough here to really get the gist, and the models are really exceptional. Models of the town and of various buildings and whatnot are really, really well done. And it's really interesting to see how it sort of evolved throughout the years. I'm gonna go check out this last bit. I think Nicole's in here somewhere, and we're gonna head out of the museum. We're done the museum here. That last part of the museum was really interesting, starting with sort of when the US came in and forced Japan to open up to trade and relations with the West. Until then, they were really secluded, and the Tokugawa government really locked down people coming and going to and from the country, and that was really interesting. And then it kind of went into the whole building up with the Western influence, and then the war, of course, unfortunately, devastated Tokyo, really. But then the rebuilding after the war, like what they were able to accomplish in such a short amount of time is really quite astounding. And yeah, really good exhibit. So it just adds to what I said earlier. This is a really good museum. You should definitely come check it out if you're in Tokyo. Nicole's here. Do you have something to say?
Yeah. I think I want to say that my favorite part of the museum was everything that started from the 1920s on to the early 2000s. They had a lot of things that were very nostalgic, and I don't know, just nifty.
You just like seeing that stuff.
I just like seeing that stuff. I love like retro stuff, and they had lots of retro stuff and lots of life-size exhibits. Yeah, so I guess it's a really good exhibit from the early 1600s to the present. Yeah, and it's really kid-friendly. And if you want to look and not do a lot of reading, it's a great museum too.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next destination. So we're heading to Shibuya Station, which from what I remember on our last trip, we got lost in there. That is a crazy, busy, complex station to navigate, but I'm feeling very confident that we won't have a lot of troubles today. We just gotta find the Hachiko exit, Hachiko is a statue of a dog, which is a very popular meeting spot for young Japanese at the Shibuya area, and it's right beside the Shibuya crossing, which is that famous crossing, the scramble crossing, which is busiest in Japan, I think. Wish us luck in finding this exit, because if we're stuck underground, might have to eat somewhere. We've come to Koko Curry on the recommendation of some friends who really enjoyed it when they were here in Japan. And so we're in the Shibuya area, and we found one in Shibuya, and we are going to give it a try. It's a chain, so it's not a one-off. So there's several of these up throughout, like we've seen them in Osaka, Tokyo, not sure where else they are, but my food has come. So I got a pork cutlet with the beef curry and a hard-boiled egg to go with it. Let's give it a try. Get a bit of sauce. That's really good. It has a unique flavor. I'm not sure how I would explain it, but
how does it differ from the packages that we buy at home?
I'm not sure how to explain the difference, but it definitely has a distinct flavor over most other curries I've ever tried.
Is it better than the previous
Yeah,
packages?
I like it. Yeah, I like it. How is yours?
I got the deep fried pork cutlet with cheese and curry. I always like to have cheese with my curry, as seen from previous videos. The spice is really nice. The consistency is good. It's not like really thin, or it's not thick and chunky. And it's good.
How's the cheese?
Cheese is good. It's stringy, which I like.
Yeah.
Melty and stringy.
Sweet. Let's eat up and then head to our next fun attraction.
Oh yes.
All right, the most embarrassing thing just happened to Nicole. Tell us what you did.
I left my braces behind, and the waitress had to run after me with them and say, "This is yours." And I was like, "Yes."
If you haven't noticed, we have Invisalign, which are like mouth guard braces, and Nicole has this weird tendency of putting it in her drinking water, and today she left it in her drinking water on the table. So I can only imagine what the waitress must have thought when she went to go dump Nicole's water out and clean the table.
Disclaimer. I don't actually drink the water that my teeth have been soaking in.
That makes it slightly better, but only marginally. So now we're done eating here, and now we're going to go here. Come to karaoke. We did this on our last trip. Was it our last trip we started doing this?
Last year or the previous?
I think, yeah.
We were trying to escape the rain, and we were like,
we'll give it a try.
Yeah, oh my
God. And we loved it. And if you go before prime time, it's super cheap. It's not an expensive thing to do. I think we've booked for an hour and a half, and it's only going to be about 1,500 yen. So that's pretty reasonable, and it's a lot of fun. You should definitely try it out. So Nicole is going to look up a song. So they give you this sort of like iPad-ish thingy, and you can look up a song.
I think I hit an artist, so let's see what artist come up.
Oh, great.
Yay! And we'll try this one. Best song ever. And then...
I think you press request.
Original key request, cut in request.
Alright, so now it's going to load up Adele, and Nicole is going to sing.
Off camera. Christmas?
It sure is.
Go give it away.
I think all the lights give it away.
Oh.
We're in Omotesando Hills, which is a shopping complex on Omotesando Dori. I think it's called. I think it is, which is the main shopping street that leads out of Meiji Shrine. This street was originally built as an entranceway into Meiji Shrine, and now it's a pretty posh spot in Tokyo. There's a lot of high-end shops here.
It used to be a hangout for artists and bohemians, and it was actually like the armpit of Tokyo.
It's no longer the armpit.
No, the armpit has become the posh pit.
The posh pit. So yeah, we're here because we're looking for food, and we've had good experiences here before. We had ramen here once where we had to wear a bib. So we're here to check out the restaurants. And the music's getting really loud, so...
Oh, look behind you!
The show has started.
Okay, let's look for food?
Yeah. So Omotesando Hills was a bit of a bust. The restaurants that we remembered that were there are no longer there, and they were replaced with other restaurants that didn't really appeal to us, and it's getting quite late, so we are going to hit a sushi place, a conveyor belt sushi place, which is just across the street from Omotesando Hills, and then we're probably going to be heading home and try to have an early-ish night for reals tonight. That's been the theme for the last couple nights, and we keep not being that early, so maybe tonight. We have 2 days left, and we have a long list of things we need to do, and a lot of things that aren't going to be all that fun for videoing because they involve shopping. We have to get gifts for people at home. There's some things we need to get. There's a couple last sort of attraction or areas we want to go check out. But yeah, I'm not sure how the videoing is going to go for the next couple days. And then on Saturday, we head for the airport at 5 p.m. from our hotel, and then it's over when we have our flight back home on ANA, and then we get back to our normal lives. So yeah, next couple days are going to be extremely busy. What do you think about the next couple days?
We're gonna pack it in, baby. Pack it in. No more sleeping in for us.
Yeah, no more sleeping in. The vacation is over. Time to get back on vacation. So we failed multiple times. We went to Omotesando Hills, the shopping center, where we had eaten before in the past, but the restaurant we were looking for was no longer there. So we left there. There wasn't any other good options. Then we walked around for a while and we found a tonkatsu restaurant that we have eaten at before in Osaka. And we really enjoyed it, so we were like, let's go there and do that. I want another tonkatsu before we leave, but they were closed for a private function. All right, so then we decided to try a conveyor belt sushi place we saw on the main road. So we went back to there, and they had closed, so we missed them. So we were down in the subway station, about to go back to our area, when Nicole saw this really cool little marché type spot where there's a few. It's like a it's like a posh food court, really. So we decided to come in here, and they're willing to take our money and give us food, so that's where we've ended up. So they have there's like a grill restaurant, a creperie, a sort of Singapore style noodle kind of place, and what else is there?
It's brand new, right?
Some other place, yeah. And this just opened. There was a congratulations on your opening sign at the front. So it's kind of interesting because we're in the subway station and it's really nice in here. So we're just waiting for our buzzers to buzz so we can get our food, and we'll show you what we decided on.
Yay, go get me my food, buzzer.
Your meal's looking pretty good.
It is.
What did you get? I
got one of my favorite appetizers, which is shrimp toast. I've never had it on a baguette before. Wow, it's very fresh and very hot. It's basically just minced shrimp, then they make it into a paste, slap it on bread, and deep fry the whole thing. And then my other dish that's always a favorite for me is the Hainanese chicken. Basically, it's steamed chicken in its own fat somehow, and then they use the excess fat and they put it into the chicken fat, and they put it into the rice, and they cook the rice with the chicken fat, and it comes with a hot sauce, sweet sauce, and a ginger green onion sauce.
Looks really good.
Yeah, I am going to dive in.
All right, now I'm going to change the battery.
Okay.
So you've dug in. How is it?
It's delicious. If I have to be honest, I was really, really disappointed that we couldn't find a traditional Japanese restaurant, or we had ideas in mind and we couldn't find what we were looking for. And I kind of felt like we were kind of scrabbling, and this was not my first choice. But now that I'm sitting here and I'm eating it, I'm really happy with my meal. It tastes really good, and probably tomorrow we can find ourselves some tempura.
I decided to go for grilled meats. I got a combo which came with some skirt steak, ribeye, lamb chop, and a sausage. So I'm gonna try this is the skirt steak. This is the skirt steak, I think. Oh, and a little dollop of mashed potatoes and a very tiny little pot of sauce.
We need to break out the shirt here. We are not on a diet t-shirt.
Yeah.
We need to wear it here for sure.
The meat is really good and juicy. The fat is just starting to melt. And I got a blue cheese sauce, and it's really good. It hit me right away. I didn't put too much on, and the blue cheese-ness of the sauce really was strong. It was really good. So I'm gonna dive in. We're gonna eat up our food, and we're gonna just head home. And I don't think we're getting an early night again. It's already past 10. Wow, dinner was really good. We're really happy with that. Marché de Metro is what this area is called, and I'm curious if they're going to open up more than one. Marché de Metro is basically like Metro Market. And that's what they call their subway here, is the Metro. So yeah, and here we are. Coming right out of Marché Metro into the subway. So we are in Omotesando Station, and we are now going to head to the Ginza line, and that will take us straight to Shimbashi. On the train, the Ginza line. It's a really old train. I'll get a shot of it from outside when we get dropped off at Shimbashi Station.
So it's been a really fun day today.
It has been a fun day. That Edo-Tokyo Museum was really, really good.
What was your favorite part of the day? Don't even pretend. I know what your favorite part
Karaoke is very high, but the museum was really good, and that was technically my first time visiting it, really.
True. When we went into karaoke, the man asked us how long we wanted the room, and we're like, just an hour. 2.5 hours later, we emerged.
What was your favorite part of the day?
The museum, of course. Hello.
Karaoke.
Yes, karaoke. The museum was awesome, and I enjoyed myself immensely. But karaoke was so darn fun, and I don't know why we like it so much when we're here, because we definitely are not karaokers at home.
No, well, I think that's why we like it. It's because it's something unique, something we don't do very often. But the museum is really good. You should totally check that out. It's really informative. It's well laid out. It's well presented.
It's very well presented.
The models just blow me away.
Yeah.
Like the quality and detail in the models.
It is a very, very interesting museum. It's fascinating.
And the building it's in is very interesting as well. It reminds, I don't know if you're from Toronto, it will look familiar to you if you know the
Ontario College of Art and Design.
Yeah, the new OCAD building they built. It's very reminiscent of that.
The new OCAD building they built 10 years ago? That new one?
Is that old now?
Yeah, because we're that old.
Well, then that building is reminiscent of this building because this building's been around longer.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's huge slab on these pillars. It's quite striking from a distance. All right, so this may be the last time you see us for the day.
I mean, look at the sound tired.
We keep saying that, but we keep finding new stuff in Shimbashi on the way home.
That's what's so great about Tokyo. There's just so much to see and so much to do.
Yeah, that dinner was really good, but I'm still a little bit hungry, so I think we're a quick stop into Family Mart is going to be in order. So
Dun 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 dun.
if I get anything interesting, I'll show you. Otherwise,